What are your thoughts about Donald Trump, Megyn Kelly, all of this whole? There is just so much going on right now.
Well, I'm a big fan of Donald Trump because I believe in bold, aggressive, unapologetic truth, period. And I'm not a fan of Megyn Kelly, though I often turn on Fox just to look at her.
It is a good view.
Sometimes when I'm loading my magazines, I like to just look at her. And I usually sit naked on the couch, dropping hot brass on my stuff. Anyhow, I digress because I am funnier than Richard Pryor's Afro on Fire. That being said,
yes.
That being said, I'm afraid the gorgeous, stunning, otherwise professional and tuned-in Megyn Kelly absolutely fell off the cliff of political correctness when she proposed that obnoxious, meaningless, nonsensical, biased question for Donald Trump that did nothing to further the quality of politics. Boy, there's two words that never belong together.
Yeah.
Quality of politics in America. So I think what Donald Trump is doing, in fact, I take that back. I know what Donald Trump is doing is representing the absolute heartbreak and anger and frustration at a government gone mad, at a corruption and power abuse by the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branches of our government that is absolutely criminal. And you don't fight a culture war politely like Mr. Rogers, Jeb Bush. You don't fight a culture war destroying the greatest quality of life in the history of the world, the only experiment in self-government, in a calm tone. You get angry, you get pissed, you swing some crowbars, and you lop off heads where necessary. And that's what Donald Trump is doing. And people in the asset column of this country align themselves with Donald Trump because this is a nasty, mean culture war, and you're not going to win it by adjusting your tie.
We're talking to the one and only Ted Nugent. I was going to ask you what you think about Jeb Bush, but you've answered that. And really,
well, not really. I mean, Jeb. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Any one of the guides for my Sunrise Safaris operation, anybody who works with me in the band or the crew or management or the Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild, anybody I know, the guys that help me cut firewood, they'd make a better president than the community disorganizer who's in there ruining things right now. So Jeb Bush would be a grand upgrade from Barack Obama, but not upgrade enough in a culture war, where the power abuse and criminality in our government, the IRS, are you kidding me? Benghazi didn't have security, and then we turned down their squalor in life-threatening situations for security. Hey, guys, my name's Ted Nugent. I play guitar. I have more security on my belt right now than our government provided our representatives in Benghazi.
Right.
That's a crime.
Yeah.
So Jeb Bush is a little too Mr. Rogers for most of us, and Donald Trump is a guy coming in getting ready to clean house because our government, academia, and most of the media need drastic house cleaning, and somebody talking calmly and politely isn't going to get the job done.
What are your feelings though with Trump talking about running a third-party campaign? If he does, it could send Hillary or somebody else on the Democratic side right into the White House. Yeah,
that's an honest review of that possibility.
Yeah,
I think we all know that, but I think the conditions and the criminality, the abuse of power, the corruption in our government right now, and in the media supporting the leftists or the Mao Zedong, Barack Obama, Karl Marx fan club, I think it is so outrageous and threatening that I wouldn't be a bit surprised if a Donald Trump going third party would win the whole shooting match. Being that as it may, I was expecting a little. I don't want any backing down or any increased politeness from Donald Trump. I think he's a pragmatist. He's a utilitarian. He's a rugged individual. He's an asset for America. He produces, and I think he would use that same business regimen in the White House if he attained the presidency. But I think he would do better to stay on point with the deserved condemnation of the Republicans and the Democrats, but go under the Republican banner and act like a Republican for a change. Not Donald Trump acting like a Republican for a change, but the Republicans acting like Republicans for a change. The Republicans have lost their soul. And that, and again, that's not a blanket statement, even though it really sounded like one. Scott Walker is a winner. Rick Perry is a winner. Ted Cruz would make the best president. Carly Fiorina, she would make an amazing leader of the free world. There's a bunch of great guys out there. But I think Donald Trump is the only guy coming in to a horror story swinging an adequate crowbar. That's why he's got so much support.
It is amazing how, nobody thought it would be seriously taken. And then even after the debate and after everything went down with Megyn Kelly and all that, his numbers have gone up.
Well, sure, because we're not upset at what the status quo is upset with. We're upset at the status quo and everything they're upset with. Megyn Kelly, heartbreakingly, because she's so good, she's so smart most of the time. If you could go back and see what she did to me after I called our president a subhuman mongrel, because he is dismantling, he is the enemy of America, he is the enemy of freedom, he is tromping and stomping and pissing on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Anybody that doesn't get that might want to call 1-800-NUMBNUT and see if Michael Moore will explain the new movie Bowling for Hygiene. So Megyn Kelly absolutely broke all of our hearts, as only a Megyn Kelly could, when she went into the status quo world.
Yeah.
She isn't status quo, but she started acting and sounding and looking like one. And I don't believe she is. I think she's playing some games. Either that or she's getting bad advice. Either that or she's just getting stupid. But either way, Donald Trump's the good guy. Currently, Megyn Kelly ain't.
Yeah. Do you think that she was Trump? Is it fair to say that during that debate they targeted him?
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they were all rolling their eyes and their hands and backstage, seeking the tar and feather boogie.
Because he gets in the way of where the establishment wants to go.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill, let me guess. You're clean and sober and you actually pay attention, because that sounded like a decision and a conclusion by a guy who's clean and sober who actually pays attention. So, yeah, what you believe is common sense and logic and truth is alive and well across the... I travel all over. I did my 6,516th concert. Well, actually, I guess there'd be 6,517 because I jammed Cat Scratch Fever with Kid Rock for 2 nights in Detroit the other night.
Wow.
And God, was that fun. I almost forgot what a bad son of a bitch I am. Anyhow, I travel and I hang and I communicate. I mean, come on, I'm Ted Nugent.
Yep.
I haven't had a quote hit record since the damn Yankees, even though Shut Up and Jam was a masterpiece last year. But I had 33.5 million Facebookers for the last 3 weeks. I reach out because what I reek of is self-evident truth, logic, and common sense, which you just stated, Bill, and it's not rare. It's just rare in government. It's almost unheard of in most of the media, and it's absolutely attacked by academia.
Yeah.
So those of us that still set our alarm clocks and bust our ass to be the very best that we can be, to be an asset to our family and our neighborhood and our country and our fellow man and the good Mother Earth by having hunting, fishing, and trapping licenses, we in the asset column are absolutely horrified at the status quo. And that's why Donald Trump represents truth, logic, and common sense, which I know you have to adhere to be productive in your radio career. That's what everybody has to be respectful of, to be a success and to be an asset to their lives and their families and their neighbors. But Donald Trump represents that, and academia does not, the government does not, and most of the media does not. So God bless you, and when Megyn Kelly isn't acting like an idiot, God bless her.